Hi friends, welcome back to PERIDOT TV. More facts have emerged on the bottlenecks which nearly frustrated. I brought you that story. I explained that it seems that South Africa is trying to block Nigerians from returning. And I don't know why they will be doing this. If they claim that Nigerians are involved in crime, we don't want you, you're taking our jobs. Why would you want to keep them when they are running away from the danger, from the evil that many of these politicians in South Africa subtly and somehow they were able to promote this violence? Like the man that said, how can a city have 80% foreigners? Soon they will take over our country. Once you begin to hear this type of talk, I don't know, it could be a demagogue or whatever it is. I wouldn't know why these politicians, these ministers would have said such words. They should realize that subtle words such as that could create violence and make their citizens see other people as non-productive, as the people creating issues. Probably, like I said initially, they are trying to focus their countrymen's attention, their citizens' attention to foreigners rather than focusing on their own corruption and all the issues that they have in their executive and whatever arms of their government, their economy not functioning properly. Like I said, more facts have emerged, and this fact shows why nearly 313 Nigerians were being frustrated from being evacuated from South Africa by Air Peace Boeing 77 aircraft on Wednesday. The flight, which was scheduled for 9 a.m., did not depart the OR Tambo International Airport until 4 p.m. following various obstacles reportedly imposed by the South African airport and immigration officials. The plane eventually arrived in Nigeria with 178 persons at Murtala Mohammed Airport, Ikeja, Lagos at 9:34 p.m. Investigations revealed that Pretoria was not happy over the evacuation operation, which senior Foreign Affairs Ministry officials described as a yellow card to Nigerian-South African relations. This, it was gathered, was seen by South African authorities as a thumbs down. Hence, the decision to mount impediments to frustrate the evacuation exercises. According to the correspondent that brought this story, that investigated this, it is gathered that on Friday that 84 Nigerians had boarded the aircraft at Johannesburg Airport when the South African immigration officials announced that they must carry out a biometric capture of all returning individuals. It was learned that all the people on board were they were brought out again from the aircraft for the biometric exercise, with the immigration officials spending about 10 minutes to capture each person. Now, I wouldn't know why this is so. Officials who participated in the clearance process at the airport explained that the immigration service cancelled valid South African visas possessed by Nigerians during the biometric exercise. It was learned that the biometrics was a smokescreen to blacklist Nigerians leaving the country over xenophobic attacks, which Pretoria has strenuously denied. They said it is not a xenophobic attack. I don't know what we are going to call this anyway. They said it is citizen arrest. Now, how can this be citizen arrest? We saw the videos. It doesn't matter if some of these videos where videos are of events that happened far back and all these things that they are saying. But we know that it is reported that at least minimum of 30 people or 10 people have been killed. It doesn't matter if it is one person. They have been killed by South Africans in this recent xenophobic attack. What are we going to call this? If they are not calling this xenophobic attack, then let us call a spade and not a shovel. Let us call this a criminal, bloodthirsty activities that these South Africans meted on other African nationals. Let us call it the name that it is: evil, criminal. They should be prosecuted. An official said, when you are evacuating your citizens from a country, it is like sending a strong message to that country about your relations with them. No country will be happy with the evacuation of foreign nationals from its territory. Now, which country will be happy that their own nationals are being slaughtered? We saw the videos, we saw them all over the streets with weapons, cudgels, with guns, with machete. We saw all of these things. Which country will be comfortable? Which country will be comfortable seeing all of these things? So these people are kind of I don't know what we are going to term them as. This most of the officials, are they pretenders? Are they trying to pretend that this is right? South Africans were very strategic. We arrived at Joburg at 6:15 a.m. They said that is the what they recounted. The intention was to leave by 9 a.m. But after clearing about 85 out of the 313 people who were scheduled for airlifting, they insisted they should do biometric capture for those who were willing to leave. So they had to come down from the plane and start the clearance process afresh. Now, there are reports that if they capture your biometrics and you leave, you won't be allowed into South Africa again, or you may be barred from visiting for at least 10 years. So, some Nigerians who plan to come to Nigeria to relax for some time and then go back eventually decide to stay back for fear of being barred from visiting South Africa, where they have investments and family. Now, that's what it is. Imagine you have a South African wife and kids, and your family say, look, boy, you have to come back. You have to come back. Your parents are crying and they need you to be back. And you feel like, well, let me listen to these people. And you come back. You might be barred from coming back to South Africa, and you may never see your family again unless they come down to South Africa. That is what it is, because the South Africans will not kill their own. Right now, they are not doing that. We don't know what will happen later. Probably they will begin their own tribal issues. But right now, South African officials, their immigration officials, they are actually capturing biometrics of people that are leaving South Africa right now, and they are putting a ban of at least 10 years on you. So it is a complex thing. They are trying to use this as a measure so as to make and discourage people from leaving their country, because they know what this means. Right now, they know what it means, that soon all these people will be evacuated, other African countries will follow suit, and afterwards, what message are we actually putting out there? But then they've not asked themselves. The president did not take time to question and actually discipline the minister of police affairs. It did not take time to talk to the minister of foreign affairs. They didn't talk to the woman and say, look, you are the minister of foreign affairs. You should be diplomatic when you issue out statements. You don't talk this way. But they kept quiet. Why? They are trying to cover up the corruption, the inadequacies in their own system, and they believe that our people, they've grown to point fingers at other people for their problems. So now that we have kind of slowed down killing Caucasians, let us focus on foreigners that are from the same continent as ours. Let us kill them. Let us point fingers at them so that they don't see us. So if you are a South African and you believe your system is working for you, let us meet at the comment section below. So many of them who could not provide the letters were also said to have gone back home after spending several hours at the airport. For example, some women who wish to live with their children were asked to present letters of consent from their husbands. Can't you see how complex this is? So it means that if a woman is a Nigerian and wants to leave, probably the woman has a South African husband, and the woman wants to leave with the children because she's afraid for her life, or her family members are actually calling on her to come back home, she will be asked to present a letter from the husband. And these things are complex anyway, particularly if the man said, no, leave my child, and the woman said, no, I'm not going to leave the child. So these are complex things that are happening right now. So they are barred from taking the children back, and they cannot return. So there are a lot of issues over there. In case you have family members and they are explaining this to you, this is official. This is what is happening right there. A ministry official said those who had elected to stay back following the new conditions imposed by the South African immigration were about 135. That's a huge number. He stated the immigration asked those who are traveling with children to present letters of consent from their spouses. If they did not have the consent letter, they would not allow the children to live with their mother. Initially, it was 313 persons who were billed to come back with the flight, but 135 went back. They included those who were traveling with children without letters of consent and those who did not want to do biometrics so that they wouldn't be barred from returning to South Africa again. According to the correspondent that brought up this, that investigated this, was also informed that the representative of Geoffrey Onyema, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, was barred from accessing the cargo wing of the OR Tambo International Airport by security officials. When asked if the South African officials informed their Nigerian counterparts about the rationale for the biometrics of the returnees, another official said there was no formal announcement to this effect, but there were reports that anyone who left may be barred from visiting South Africa for life or for at least 10 years. Now, the credibility of the report was strengthened when the immigration officials were cancelling valid visa as they were clearing those with valid travel documents. So if you have a resident permit in South Africa and you're returning, they will cancel it. Even if you have 1 or 2 year visas, it was cancelled. And this means you may have to reapply afresh, and it may be difficult for you to get the visa again. Nigerian officials were frustrated. The Minister of Foreign Affairs sent an official to represent him at the airport, but the person was not allowed access to the cargo wing for a long time. Findings also show that the Nigerian consulate contributed to the rowdy situation at the airport, as they did not give the emergency travel document to those with expired passports until they got to the airport. Now you can see this too. The MFA officials explained that the mission had been advised to distribute the travel certificates to the next batch of returnees who needed them at the consulate ahead of time to ease the departure process at the airport. The next batch was expected to be airlifted on Saturday or Sunday from Joburg to Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. So, giving an update on the operation, the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, that's Abike Dabirerewa, said the Consul General of Nigerian Mission in Johannesburg was already addressing the issue with the South African government. I think now they will probably do this better. And she further added that because of the serious orders put in place by the South African authorities on this first evacuation, we will have to wait for an update from the consulate as they resolve some issues with the South African authorities. The next flight may be Saturday or Sunday. However, Chairman LP says the airline is on standby and ready for more evacuations anytime. This is a Nigerian that is doing what the government is supposed to do. Anyway, let us assume that private citizens are doing this. The government should set up these people and put things right in the country. The returnees would also get a soft loan from the Bank of Industry. I brought you that story. I won't go into that any longer. So when contacted the acting South African High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Bobby Morrow, simply said, I am currently in Abuja and not privy to what transpired in South Africa during the transfer of Nigerian nationals from South Africa to Nigeria. You may wish to contact the Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to ascertain the fact around this matter. Of course, what is the man trying to do? He's just trying to play safe. That's what he's trying to do here. So what's your take about this? Let us meet at the comment section below. Are you a South African? I've seen a lot of South Africans commenting here. Yes, I see some of them spitting hate, but I want them to explain why. What are the facts? That's what we want them to present. And also, if you're a Nigerian in South Africa, what's your take about this? And if you're in Nigeria concerned, you've got family members over there, let us meet at the comment section below. And while you're at that, may I remind you to kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red notification icon bell below so that you will be notified whenever new videos are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.